Hello! You're probably wondering what we're all doing here today in this video, but we have an update on Season 10 that we want to share with you. So, Mike, what is the news on Season 10?
As we assess the ongoing development of Season 10, looking at the work we've got remaining, the expectation that there'll still be unforeseen issues that will crop up, and even though the team is working incredibly hard to pull this ambitious feature set together, ultimately we're not where we want to be in the development time frame. So we've taken the difficult decision to delay Season 10 to October 19th. This has been an incredibly hard decision for us to make on the Sea of Thieves. It's a very difficult thing for us to do with the plans that we had, but this is right for us, especially with the ambitions that we have for Season 10.
And just on that ambition, Mike, as we kind of alluded to in the last podcast, Season 10's headline feature is a challenge because of that kind of foundational way that we're trying to weave it into Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
It is. I think as you look on Sea of Thieves, we obviously have features that speak to the variety in the sandbox, which, although challenging in their own ways, generally they're easy to scope and predict how long they're going to take and land at quality. Whereas something like Season 10, it really speaks to those foundational systems that expand the way that you can play in Sea of Thieves, give you new ways to enjoy the content in the game. And we don't want to curtail our ambitions there. We want to set Sea of Thieves up for an incredibly exciting future, which is why we want to build seasons like Season 10. But ultimately, it leads to these issues where there's these added complexities, landing it in the way that we want to land it.
So with Season 10 now launching on October 19th, that means that Season 9 is running far longer than we anticipated. So obviously players, they're not going to be feeling great about that.
This is the unfortunate side of this delay, which is Season 9 is going to run extraordinarily long. Never our intention with Season 9, or with any season. We all appreciate that there's going to be many players out there in the core community who are already renowned level 100, and feeling like they've already seen everything there is to see as part of Season 9.
But there is still new content on the way. Even though Season 9 is now longer, there's still new things for players to experience.
There is. We have a Legend of Monkey Island story. So we have our first tale of those set of tales live now, The Journey to Melee Island. As we head into August, we have the second part of the story launching. And then into September, we have a climactic finale. And beyond The Legend of Monkey Island, we've got some plans as well for the community, haven't we?
We do. We've got a really exciting live event programme up until October to keep our players entertained. So I am going to look at my laptop because there's a lot going on. I don't want to forget anything. So we have a Golden Glory event coming up in August. We're also having the Return of Legends Week. We also have a summer event, which we'll be telling players more about in due time. But then also, really excitingly for us, we also have a community weekend coming up in September. It's going to be a Talk Like a Pirate Day special. It's going to last 2 days instead of the one, as we announced on the podcast. And there's going to be a brand new feature that players haven't seen yet coming to that particular event.
So there is still a lot for players to look forward to then. But if we think about how delaying Season 10 to October 19th impacts what we had planned for seasons beyond that, what's happening there? Like, what are we doing about the seasons after Season 10?
I think now we've made that change to delay Season 10 to October 19th. What that means is that what would have been Season 11's headline feature, really exciting, that now becomes part of Season 10.
So although there is now more content in Season 10 than we'd planned, obviously players will understandably be disappointed that they're not going to get Season 10 until October 19th. With everything else that's been happening in the community, how do you think our players are going to be feeling?
I think it's fair to say that our community, we have noticed there's a little bit of discontent there. We have eyes and ears everywhere. We're always listening, and we treat everything our players say and feel about our game as, a very valuable input to how we kind of respond. I think the key thing to kind of really reiterate here is that we are listening, but game development takes time. And there are some really exciting elements of our roadmap coming up where players are going to get things that they have been asking for us to kind of revisit or refresh.
Very much so. I think alongside the kind of core feature work and expansions we're planning with seasons, there's obviously a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And you mentioned there's some hot topics in the community right now, particularly around hit registration, which is a kind of long-running issue for us, alongside what we're seeing in the cheating space and the escalation there. What we can assure the community is that we've got teams focused in those areas, both on cheating and on hit registration and the overall integrity of the game. There will be fixes rolling out throughout this year and beyond, but we remain firmly focused in those areas, both expanding the game, but also increasing the integrity of the experience.
Yeah, and I just want to take a moment here to just really appreciate our community. I think even though our community do express their frustrations, sometimes we are always listening and we do want to make sure we action that in the right ways. But even though they're airing their frustrations, I do think, and again, obviously wildly biased, I still think we've got the best community in gaming, and we really cherish and value everything they say to us, and even when they meet us, I guess.
Indeed, like even though today this is incredibly difficult to message this, what is bad news to our players, we're looking optimistically towards the latter half of the year. But I'm currently in the afterglow of Sopfest. I think the opportunity to meet with so many familiar faces who we know in our community, but also meet players for the first time. And honestly, really hard to put into words how that day felt. Like so many people who want to speak to us on the team and share what often are very emotional stories of what Sea of Thieves means to them. I think it is a constant reminder of how wonderful, creative, heartfelt our community are and what this game means to them. And the work we're doing now, and Season 10 speaks to this, we're really committed to expanding what Sea of Thieves can be as an experience. And Season 10 has had this added complexity because it is this new foundational system. We're doing this work because we want to set Sea of Thieves up for an even greater future. And honestly, I would ask the community, just if you can, bear with us as we do this work. It's something that we're really committed to. But as we look to the end of this year and beyond, we remain as ambitious and excited as ever for the future that this game has ahead. So Season 10 and the type of features that Season 10 represents, those foundational systems, as we look to the latter half of this year and beyond, it's very much about completing that work and then enriching this new expanded Sea of Thieves experience that we have. New tools, new variety in the sandbox, giving you new pirate experiences in that pirate world.
So obviously moving Season 10 isn't what we wanted to do, but as you mentioned there, it's allowed us to bolster the season with additional features that weren't originally going to be there. Now, we have talked quite a bit about a few different things today, so people might have some questions. And if they do have questions, one of the avenues we have to chat is the podcast. So how would they get in touch?
Yep, so any players who have any questions, if they use hashtag #SOTPodcast on any of the major networks, we will find it and we will ask it, and we'll use that podcast space as a kind of a long form environment to get into the detail of this a little bit more.
Great. Well, thank you both for joining me today. And of course, thank you for watching us. I know it's not the best of news, but hopefully we've given you some additional context and a few things to look forward to as well. So we'll see you on the next one.